In Arizona, wild boars are becoming one of the greatest threats to farms and agricultural areas. As their population continues to increase, they regularly invade fields at night, tear up the ground, destroy crops, and cause serious losses for farmers. To address this problem, a large-scale trapping operation has been launched across some of the hardest-hit areas. Numerous traps have been placed along wild boar travel routes with the goal of controlling their numbers before the damage continues to escalate. Today, we will inspect those traps and see what results this operation has achieved after a single night of activity.
We have
The first trap was set the day before, about 200 meters from the farm, in the middle of a dense pine grove, an area where signs of wild boars feeding at night are frequently found. When we returned to check it this morning, we were genuinely surprised by the results. Inside the trap was a large number of wild boars crowded together, desperately trying to escape. After only one night, the trap had performed even better than expected, revealing just how severely this area has been affected by wild boar activity. After dealing with the first trap, we continued to the location of the second one. This trap had been set the previous day in an oak forest about 300 meters east of the farm, an area where wild boar tracks and freshly rooted patches of soil are regularly recorded. As soon as we approached the trap, we knew that the night had not been quiet here either. Inside, several wild boars were packed together and repeatedly crashing into the steel fencing in desperate attempts to escape. It appeared that this trap had been just as successful as the first location.
get in.
Leaving the oak forest behind, we headed toward the third trap, which had been placed farther away near the forest edge, a route frequently used by groups of wild boars moving between their shelter areas and feeding fields. It took us about 30 minutes of driving to reach the location. But the journey was completely worth it. The moment the trap came into view, we could see dozens of wild boars already captured inside. The chaotic scene behind the steel fencing showed that the trap had been extremely effective during the previous night, while also reflecting the true scale of the problem local farms are facing. The next trap had been placed in an open clearing within the forest, where a trail camera had recorded the trap being triggered the previous night. Although we already knew wild boars had been caught, we still could not prepare ourselves for what we were about to see. When we arrived, the entire team was astonished by the number of wild boars confined inside. Dozens of animals were packed together within the trap, constantly slamming into the steel fencing and creating a scene unlike anything we had ever witnessed. This single trap alone demonstrated the alarming size of the wild boar population living around the area and why this capture operation was absolutely necessary. After inspecting a series of other traps, we continued deeper into the forest to reach the next location. This trap had been set around a large tree far from the main roads, an area where signs of particularly large groups of wild boars are frequently found. By the time we returned to inspect it, the afternoon was already fading. But the moment I saw the trap, I was almost speechless. Inside were enormous wild boars, far larger than any individuals we had captured earlier that day. They repeatedly charged the steel fencing, displaying remarkable strength. Just looking at these animals was enough to understand the level of destruction they could cause if they continued entering local farmers' fields. When we moved on to the final trap, the sun had already disappeared behind the trees and darkness was slowly spreading through the forest. Even after spending an entire day checking trap after trap, the work was still not finished. The final trap also delivered the results we had hoped for, and we quickly began collecting the captured wild boars. Once everything was completed, a large number of animals had been removed from the area, bringing an end to a long but productive day. This also marked the conclusion of the wild boar removal operation in this region. Although the problem cannot be completely solved in a single day, controlling such a large number of wild boars will significantly reduce the pressure on surrounding farms and help protect fields from the growing destruction they have been causing. After a full day of continuously inspecting and managing traps across multiple locations, the number of wild boars captured far exceeded initial expectations. This demonstrates just how serious the wild boar problem has become in Arizona and why large-scale operations like this are necessary. If left uncontrolled, wild boar populations will continue to reproduce, expand their range, and cause increasing damage to farms, crops, and local ecosystems. Every wild boar removed today represents a reduction in the burden carried by farmers who work tirelessly to protect the results of their hard labor. This battle may not be over yet, but at least after today's operation, Arizona has become a little more peaceful. And the fields beyond the forest now have a better chance of reaching harvest season without facing the destruction caused by wild boar herds roaming in the darkness of night. First rule, shut down all current deterrents. No noise, no small cage traps, no hunting dogs. We need the sounder to believe this place is no longer a threat. The first location sits deep in the woods. Dense grass, limited visibility. At 7:22 p.m., the camera pings. The automatic feeder has done its job. A group moves in. I watch through the live feed. No other wildlife. No stray livestock. This is it. The gate drops fast. So fast they don't even realize they're trapped until it's already over. Then comes the chaos. Panic erupts inside the trap. Bodies collide. Steel echoes through the forest. For a brief moment, the entire area feels like it's shaking. And then, control. The second site is wide and open. Bait is concentrated at the center. At exactly 7:37 p.m., the second group arrives. This time, I have to be more careful. Open terrain means higher risk. If anyone or any vehicle passes through, I must delay the drop. But the area stays clear. Not a second wasted. I trigger the system remotely. Two 12-foot gates slam down in perfect sync. But the third location, that's the real test. A large sounder. They circle for a long time. The smaller ones enter first. The bigger ones stay out, watching, calculating. I stay locked in my seat, eyes fixed on the phone screen. Not a second away. My heartbeat rises. Breathing tightens. It takes until 2 a.m. Patience pays off. The entire group is finally inside, feeding under the soft glow of infrared. I send the command. The gates drop. Instant chaos. The sheer number of animals makes the steel enclosure shake violently in the night. But once the lock engages, not a single one gets out. What looks like a clean result in one night isn't luck. It's a complete shift in strategy. Phase 1 is always scouting and setup. We identify travel routes, habitual paths, and place monitoring stations discreetly. Once locations are confirmed, it's time to choose the trap. We don't do things the old way anymore. Too slow, too costly, too risky. We use modern modular corral systems. With this setup, one person can deploy rigid panels, lock them in place, and raise a 12-foot heavy-duty drop gate using a manual winch. All in under 20 minutes. The key is speed. The gate drops instantly. The goal isn't just to catch some, it's to contain all. Once the structure is up, we install the system. One automatic feeder inside, one solar-powered ice camera mounted high from that moment on. Everything runs remotely, 24/7 through a smartphone. Anywhere, anytime. When a camera confirms the entire sounder is inside, one tap sends a signal. The gate drops immediately, and if a person or livestock enters the area, we delay. No panic, no risk. Everything is controlled down to the second. Wildlife control isn't about force or luck. It's about strategy, technology, and understanding animal behavior. With remote systems and real-time monitoring, we remove unnecessary human interference, ensure maximum safety for the surrounding environment, and solve the problem at its root.
Installing the monitoring equipment. Before setting any traps, we installed a camera monitoring system to accurately assess the size of the herd and their movement patterns. Infrared cameras were securely mounted, recording day and night and activating automatically whenever motion was detected. In addition, cellular trail cameras allowed us to receive images in real time. This made it possible to identify the right moment to intervene, and, crucially, avoid catching only a single animal. One of the most common mistakes in wild boar control, often leading to ineffective results and making the remaining herd even more wary. Setting up the boar trap. Based on the data collected, we proceeded to install a drop trap, a vertically falling trap widely regarded as one of the most effective methods for capturing an entire herd at the same time. The trap frame is built from heavy-duty steel panels and firmly anchored to ensure safety and stability when it drops. A remote activation system allows the trap to be triggered at the exact right moment, only when the cameras confirm that the entire herd is inside. This approach minimizes panic and prevents animals from escaping, which is critical in effective wild boar control. The bait used is typically corn or fermented grain, highly attractive to wild boar. Wild boar are intelligent and powerful animals, so I came up with a deliberate strategy, feeding them the same bait they love for several consecutive days. This creates a routine for the entire herd, lowers their guard, and builds familiarity with the trap site. Only after fully understanding their movement patterns, habits, and accurately identifying the timing of their appearance did we take action. Trap. After many nights of monitoring, the herd of wild boar kept returning to the same area, devouring the bait, tearing up the ground, then disappearing without a trace. Instead of rushing to set the trap, we chose patience. With wild boar, haste almost always leads to failure. We begin with pre-baiting, spreading bait and setting up monitoring cameras. The footage showed the herd arriving consistently, but there were always a few individuals hanging back, watching from the outside. That was a clear signal. It wasn't time to set the trap yet. Only when the entire herd moved in together, when their guard was fully down, were we ready for the next step. The Boar Buster trap was installed right at the familiar site, paired with a remote trigger to give us full control over the timing. When the camera feed confirmed that the whole herd was neatly inside, we didn't hesitate for a single second. The trap was activated. 2 successful control operations at the same location proved one thing clearly. When the process is done right, the results can be sustained over time. The neighborhood returned to peace, damage dropped significantly, and residents no longer had to live in fear night after night. This is not just a story about catching wild boar. It's about responsibility to the community, about safety, and about taking control of a situation rather than constantly chasing after the consequences. Transportation. After the operation concluded, wild boar were transported in specialized containment cages, ensuring safety and full compliance with state regulations. Every step of the process was carried out with care, minimizing risks to both people and the surrounding residential areas. All captured boar were removed from the trapping zone and handled in accordance with state and local government regulations. The immediate threat was eliminated. The area returned to a temporary state of calm, and the team's efforts resulted in outcomes that truly reflected the work put in.
Come on now. Come on now.
Wild boar control is not a matter of a single day or a one-time operation. It is a long-term process aimed at protecting communities, land, and public safety. The boar may return, but with the right approach, coordination, and disciplined decision-making, we can stay ahead of the situation rather than constantly reacting to its consequences. This is a shared responsibility, and it is how a community protects itself.